The key to success on the field and in your backyard is a comprehensive game plan. So if you're building a fence or a deck this year, trust a Turkstra coach to design, quote, or order the right materials for your project. Visit a Turkstra Lumber near you to learn more.
From the Ticats Audio Network, this is the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker.
Welcome to another episode of the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker. And man, is it a different feeling around Ticats town. Coach, congrats on a huge win.
Thank you. Yeah, winning is fun, to say the least. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a fun one. And so the atmosphere around Tim Hortons Field is totally different now. Like winning's the perfect medicine, right? Like everything's different after Saturday night's win against Winnipeg. For everybody, outside the walls. But Dane, after the game, he kind of shared a sentiment of yours. He said is maybe that everyone was surprised. We surprised everybody except for ourselves. Is that true for this team?
Yeah, that was kind of the messaging that we kind of said all week. And, it's, hey, listen, everybody has a right to their opinion and how we've played and those sorts of things. But, Luke, it's always different in between the walls. And so you hold on to those things that you're doing really well. It just hadn't shown up in the most important critical stat, and that's winning. But we didn't waver internally on our belief in ourselves, and ultimately it comes down to the execution on the field. So, that's exactly how we felt, that we shocked the majority of people, if not everybody except ourselves.
I can't believe that there was a Blue Bomber out there who before the game would have thought that was a realistic possibility. I mean, they are a confident football team. They've been playing great, and they've lost once this season, and it was close. And you guys went out there and put on an unbelievable performance of a football game. It's almost like, I believe that they believed. I mean, every black shirt out there looked like they knew it, and that's impressive because I know what it's like to be on a team that's struggling. I know what it's like to sort of mentally have to overcome what everybody else thinks about you. But the key point to me is that fourth quarter and Unger's touchdown, your bench pretty much was on the field. Like everyone cleared the bench. I mean, you guys had some real authentic energy and excitement going.
Yeah, and that's the team camaraderie, and I think that everybody wanted it so bad, and the fact that it was David and just the timing of it to end that drive that way. I think it was just so much bottled up emotion in there, and so so happy for obviously David and Dane and the whole offense for a crazy impressive almost an 8-minute drive there. But just for the whole football team, and it's bigger than that. It's the whole city of Hamilton that drove home happy. It's the organization. It's the business side. It's the media. It's yourself. It's a different feeling up there. It's just well earned and well deserved by everybody involved.
You mentioned that fourth quarter drive, and multiple times throughout the year, right? We've started to see a team climb back on a Ticat lead. And then tonight on Saturday night, it was different. We saw Zach start to really put some drives together. And then, like you said, a 7+ minute drive. What stands out to you about that drive? What was most impressive to you?
They were able to run the ball a little bit. It wasn't just drop back and pass. It was pass when you needed to, but we were able to run the ball off of being backed up there. And obviously that limits the opportunity for incomplete passes, which obviously limits the time that the clock can stop. So, I think it's that. I think it's just how we shared the ball and distributed it. I thought the protection was outstanding. And, you can always point to a game when it's sporadic like that. Well, the protection was great on this drive. We had a great catch on this drive. We had a great run on this drive. And I think you could say that was a drive that was complete with all of the above.
Wes Hills and Sean Thomas Erlington both taking turns making some plays, some impressive first downs, and some really impressive downhill running. Is that the Ticats run game, just the tandem running back duos?
Well, I think we have a fantastic duo with Don in there. Don's a nice change of pace back. along with Erlington. Erlington's kind of that staple guy that's done it all. I know he was a receiver at one time when you played with him, and is obviously talented enough to make a ratio changing back. And so we just, sometimes you just change things up. And so Wes brings a different dimension. And so I think we've had great 1-2 punches with Don Jackson and Erlington in there. And, this was a time for us to look at Wes Hills and Erlington.
Coach, I can think back to, that game felt big. It felt like a very, really, really big win, almost like a playoff environment. The fans certainly felt that way. And as I think back to when our team won the 2013 Eastern Final in the Rogers Center, and it was a huge celebration. We broke a long streak in Hamilton, and it was a great moment. It was exciting. Hank Burris, all those guys, Marwan Hage, and all those guys, and that was fun. We went and it was a tough Grey Cup in Sask that year.
Yep.
Following Eastern Final, do you remember, there was no celebration after winning that Eastern Final. There was, of course, the ceremony on the field, like what we had to do, but guys didn't want to touch the trophy, that kind of thing. It was we're not going to treat this like we've arrived, sort of the way that it was in 2013. We were going for the Grey Cup there, and talk to me about after this game, because it felt like a celebration to me in a good way. It felt like different from that 2014, some combination of both of those games where you had to celebrate having broken that mold of losing fourth quarters and the turnover ratio. But of course, you got a lot of work to do. What was it like celebrating with these guys after this win?
Well, I always think that it's important that you do celebrate or smell the roses along the journey. Winning is hard. And when you win a lot, or as much as we did in 19, people think it just automatically happens. And that, other teams don't put together game plans to destroy you or to beat you. You guys had to perform every single day. And it's, I think you've heard me say this numerous times. I want everybody to be happy. There's too much hard work that goes into preparation by everybody in the building and on the business side to not celebrate. And so I do think it's okay to be happy with how we played. I don't see a challenge with that. Being satisfied is a whole different conversation. And I don't see any complacency and satisfaction, but I do think it's okay to be happy and celebrate that moment, because you put in so many hours of work for, an hour of football. And it's important that you do celebrate with your peers and amongst one another, just because of the hard work and everything else that goes into it. So, like I said, happy for everybody, the whole organization in the city of Hamilton, and everybody involved with it.
Your defense got 3 takeaways and a defensive touchdown. For most of the year, they've really been a strong unit. I mean, statistically, they've been near the top in a number of categories. They've played well. You've got a bunch of well-known playmakers on that unit, but the takeaways have been hard to come by. Anything schematic that was changed that helped force these takeaways in the Winnipeg game?
I wish, us coaches do want to, you want to take that credit in the most, in a funny sort of way. But at the end of the day, the players execute. And that's what happened. It's, I'm very big, and we are very big on play opportunities versus plays made. And some people are going to you've heard me say this, Luke, and I know I say that every program, but, some people have 13 opportunities to make a play, whether it's an open field tackle, a key block, a key catch, and some people are only going to have 2 or 3. And so make yours. And that's going to give us the best chance to win. And that's just what I think it is. There's points of emphasis always, but if it doesn't transfer, it doesn't matter. And so taking advantage of the ratio in a ball game, that requires 2 phases, usually, or including 3, meaning you can't give the ball up on special teams or offense. Having a 0, giving it up 3 times and gaining it 3 times doesn't help anybody. So I think collectively, defense, it's always going to start. You got to take it away to start getting the advantage. But then it's a great job by our special teams and our offense by not turning the ball over also.
What does it say about your defense that they were able to do it against, 2 interceptions against a guy who's on track for potentially an MOP, or he's certainly in the conversation, and against outrightly just a very good football team to take the ball over 3 times and to put 6 points on the board as well.
Yeah, I think it speaks volumes. You got to do it in the biggest games against the best competition, and they've proven that they can beat anybody in basically almost anywhere. Yeah, hostile environments, come from behind wins. They're a talented football team, and just proud of our guys for showing up and maintaining and weathering adversity. As much as the scoreboard may say that we started from the beginning to end, there were points in there where we had some key takeaways, or even the field goal to start. Little things like 5 for 5 on extra points. All the field goals were good. Those are all things that can shift the momentum of a game also if you miss. And you don't want to kick it to Janarian too many times back there if you miss it, and punt return. So I thought all 3 phases did a great job against obviously a two-time Grey Cup champion team, and they're rolling again this year in Winnipeg.
Of course, in the day-to-day operations inside Tim Hortons Field, it's day by day, game by game, practice by practice. But for a second, if we zoom out a little bit, imagine your Ticats continue to play like that, and they continue to trend in that direction of football. I mean, there's a realistic chance that this is a 3rd-time Grey Cup matchup in a row, of course, Hamilton and Winnipeg. Does that game on Saturday, will that make a difference? Maybe to both teams. Will it be on your mind? Would you imagine that's on Winnipeg's mind? Because that was a resounding victory against the best team, and in the event you meet in a few weeks from now, to me it seems like it would make a difference.
Yeah, I do have a tough time looking far ahead, but I don't mind having a little fun and saying, I'd welcome a 3rd straight trip against anybody. It would be an interesting matchup against O'Shea and Winnipeg again. And I can't speak for the other football team. I got to believe that they thought they didn't put their best foot forward, or maybe they overlooked or didn't execute, or whatever they may say. You would have to say that, and rightfully so. We did beat them twice in 2019 in the regular season, regardless of who was at quarterback and whatnot. We did beat them twice, one time including when they were rolling and when they were undefeated. And then they took the long run. I think they were something like 11-7 that year, and went to Calgary and won, went to Saskatchewan and won, and ultimately won the Grey Cup against us in Calgary. So, I'm not sure how much it will phase their organization, but that's why you play the game. And for us, I think it's important to know that you can and we can play with those people, and not just in the meeting room or in conversation, but actually on the field.
I just remember 2014, facing Calgary in BC Place in the Grey Cup, and not having ever beat Calgary in my career, and
right.
Just not that kind of it doesn't really matter. But also, I could also see how if I had also dominated Calgary earlier that year, it would feel a little different. And so, interesting. And of course, a lot of moving pieces still left to go in this season. But we'll see how we'll see in a couple weeks on the Coach O Show if we're talking about a game like that.
Absolutely.
Coach Dane's interview after the game credited the O-line, who, 0 sacks, and they played a huge role in that victory. He talked about his own sort of mental approach to the game. As you guys came out of the bye week leading into the Winnipeg prep, could you foresee this? Were you expecting him to play that way? Could you see a difference in him?
Yeah, I just well, Dane's always going to be able to throw the ball around the field. He can make every throw. You can hear it whistling when it cuts through. Dane's consistently working on a changeup, and making sure he's throwing catchable balls and those sorts of things. But, when you're talking about mental preparation, that's usually just between you and you. There's only so much you can do. You can give pats on the back or nods of encouragement and those type of things from teammates and players, but ultimately you have to have belief in yourself, and your teammates got to have belief in you. And so if I sat here and said I knew Dane was going to throw 5 touchdowns and no picks and scramble for a key first down and, be 3 for 3 on sneaks, I'd be lying to you. But also to tell you that I'm shocked, I'd be lying to you also, because we've seen that. We saw a guy come in when Jeremiah went down against Winnipeg and carry us. Without him, no offense to our third and fourth string quarterbacks that year, but it likely looks a lot different in 2019 without Dane. And so, he's proven he can get it done, and it's just nice to see him regain his form.
Yeah, it was impressive to watch. 4 out of 4 in the red zone. That's another thing the Ticats have, the first 2/3 struggled with. Maybe a different level of connection or mutual understanding with Tommy and Dane. Do you think, was there more aggressive play call down there? What was your take on such a perfect red zone record on Saturday?
Just, sometimes things work out like that. And I'm not saying that this is by chance. It's something that's been emphasized the whole year. Like I said, the players have to make the plays. The play calls don't make themselves. Yes, are some calls better than other calls in 3 phases of the game? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, the players end up making the plays no matter how good or maybe not good, if you will, the play call may be. So, I think it's more of a connection between Dane and the receivers, and being on the page and confidence to throw it in there. And then, Dane's got to read the coverage and do those sorts of things. But, you also got to make that play. There's a lot of confidence. If a quarterback doesn't have confidence in you, it doesn't mean he's going to throw away from you, but you don't want him saying, better take the sack because of who the receiver might be. And I think, in the teams that you're on, there were so many weapons that there was confidence across the board. And, I think 9 different players caught passes in that football game. And that's, a tribute to, going where the ball needs to go and taking what the defense gives you, but also confidence to throw it to them.
Absolutely. Coach, let's get into a fan question. But before we do, listeners, Journey Rewards Road Trip. We're going to start, you'll start hearing about this on the Ticats Audio Network, and tune in because you could win a trip to the Ticats October 29th away game in Ottawa with Journey Rewards. Simply hit ticats.ca/journey-rewards to enter to win 2 tickets on Via Rail, hotel and game tickets, plus a chance at other prizes, including autographed Ticats jerseys or $250 gift card to the Ticats shop. Go on the road with the Ticats to Ottawa with Journey Rewards. Again, ticats.ca/journey-rewards. Okay, Coach, fan question for you. This one is interesting. The origin of this is very interesting. It's coming from Steve Birch in Australia. Coach and Luke, congrats on Saturday night's win. Thank you. Which was Sunday morning here. You said that on the postgame show it was just 2 points, but tell us fans what a victory like that means to you, your family, and your friends after a season starts like this. Thanks, from Steve.
Hey, thanks for the question, Steve, and thanks for the support all the way from down under. It is in the gist of things. It is 2 points, but it was 2 important points for us. The feeling, I think ABC Wide World of Sports summed it up the best. And there was this thing that I always watched growing up, and it was called Wide World of Sports, but they had this theme song and theme opening that said the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. And I think whoever coined that's got it exactly right. And the thrill of victory is an emotion that you feel. And you share it in the locker room after the game when I come in from doing the media, and you can see just the jubilation of everybody's hard work. And it's not just players. It's equipment. It's therapists. It's ownership, president, you name it. It's people in the waiting room. And so those are things that, as you can tell, they're hard to describe. You have to feel it. The music's pumping. You got to tell them to turn it down. And they may be dancing and that sort of thing. And then the car rides home's always nicer. Always nicer. It's kind of fun. Everybody gets to drive home. People may even walk home and feel good about life after a win. So that's kind of internally. For me, it's usually short-lived, but to say that I don't enjoy it or don't feel good, I would be lying. There's so much hard work that goes into it that I just love the feeling, and you don't really ever get sick of it.
Yeah. Oh man, I said it. I remember my dad saying it in his retirement speech with the Buffalo Bills, saying the thing he'll win the most is winning games with the guys on his team, and there's nothing like it. Especially, Steve, when you beat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who were 12-1 coming in. And yeah, thanks for writing in, Steve. Fans, you can write your questions in each week to the Coach O Show, and each week we pick at least one to read off. So you can send those to gameday@ticats.ca, and next week we may pick your question to be on Coach O's show. The Coach O Show with Luke Tasker is presented by Turkstra Lumber. Check out the project coaches at Turkstra Lumber. They can help with every part of your home renovation, from designing your deck to ordering your new front door. Learn more at turkstralumber.com, and be sure to send in those fan questions to gameday@ticats.ca. Coach, you're getting ready to go into Montreal. You beat Montreal you'd have the tiebreaker. You'd be second in the East and in the playoffs at that moment. What are you looking forward to the most, and what do you expect from Montreal?
I expect them to be fresh, to be confident. I expect their fans to be loud. Expect their best, and that's it. And, there's no easy games any week, and this environment's going to be hostile, and, I like the build up to it and whatnot, but we're not going to focus on the end result. We're going to focus on the process. And, but yeah, that's what I'd say. I think Montreal is going to be fired up and ready to go and be a confident team, and we're going to be the exact same. So that's why you play the game.
Love it. Coach, best of luck with a slightly shorter week of prep as you guys get ready for that big game, and excited to make the call with RJ Broadhead. That game will be this Friday. It is in Montreal, 7:30 p.m. start time. Coach, best of luck. Have a great week, man.
Hey, I appreciate it, Luke. Look forward to next week.
Another episode of the Coach O Show with Luke Tasker is in the books. Let us know your thoughts. Email us at gameday@ticats.ca. Coach O and Luke are back next week to discuss the latest from the locker room. Subscribe to the Ticats Audio Network on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.